Whew. Hey everyone. It's pretty chilly. I'm doing some work on my motorcycle. I'm putting some new blinkers on. And I wanted to do a quick video because I've seen a lot of chatter online about... I was just listening to something on YouTube, and there was a lot of chatter from people who haven't felt like the election went their way, and feel now really scared for the outcome of potentially themselves and the country, and they don't know where this is going. They think their rights are going to be taken away. I'm just going to read something to you from a piece of case text from the case of, let me get this right, Silveira v. Lockyer, United States Court of Appeals, 9th Circuit, May 6, 2003. I was first introduced to this in 2013 when I was listening to some arguments given at the Connecticut State Capitol about the 2013 assault weapons ban, which ended up passing. We had an assault weapons ban in 1994, we had one in 2013, and we had one in 2023. Take a look at another video. I'll pin it down below, or leave a link in the description, that I did in firearms ownership relative to crime and incidents through the years. It's a really simple video. It doesn't have a lot of detailed analysis, and that's okay, but I just wanted to go over that with you guys. Anyway, let me get something to sit on. Crouching in front of the camera is not super comfortable. I say that, and I have a motorcycle right here. You guys are going to have to bear with the wind noise. So, here we go. I'm not going to go over the entire case, but it ended up one of the judges, Kozinski, circuit judge, dissenting from denial of rehearing en banc. Case text right here. I'll leave a link to that as well in the description below. Right now, honestly, the case is not super important, but what he wrote, dissenting from the way the rest of the judges voted, or the majority of the judges voted, is really important. This case was talking about the importance of firearms in protecting natural rights. I'm going to read partway through his dissent. Full text will be linked down below. From Kozinski. The majority falls prey to the delusion, popular in some circles, that ordinary people are too careless and stupid to own guns, and we would be far better off leaving all the weapons in the hands of professionals on the government payroll. But the simple truth, born of experience, is that tyranny thrives best where government need not fear the wrath of an armed people. Our own sorry history bears this out. Disarmament was the tool of choice for subjugating both slaves and free blacks in the South. In Florida, patrols searched blacks' homes for weapons, confiscated those found, and punished their owners without judicial process. Then he goes on to some citations. In the North, by contrast, blacks exercised their right to bear arms to defend against racial mob violence. As Chief Justice Taney well appreciated, the institution of slavery required a class of people who lacked the means to resist. See Dred Scott v. Sanford, 60 U.S., some citation. In parentheses, finding black citizenship unthinkable because it would give blacks the right to, quote, keep and carry arms wherever they went, end quote. A revolt by Nat Turner and a few dozen other armed blacks could be put down without as much difficulty. 1 by 4 million armed blacks would have meant big trouble. All too many other great tragedies of history, Stalin's atrocities, the killing fields of Cambodia, the Holocaust, to name a few, were perpetrated by armed groups against unarmed populations. Many could well have been avoided or mitigated had the perpetrators known their intended victims were equipped with a rifle and 20 bullets apiece, as the Militia Act required here. If a few hundred Jewish fighters in the Warsaw Ghetto could hold off the Wehrmacht for almost a month with a handful of weapons, 6 million Jews armed with rifles could not so easily have been herded into cattle cars. This piece is my personal favorite. This, like, one paragraph. The ducks are laughing at me. My excellent colleagues have forgotten these bitter lessons of history. The prospect of tyranny may not grab the headlines the way vivid stories of gun crime routinely do. But few saw the Third Reich coming until it was too late. The Second Amendment is a doomsday provision, one designed for those exceptionally rare circumstances where all other rights have failed, where the government refuses to stand for re-election and silences those who protest, where courts have lost the courage to oppose or can find no one to enforce their decrees. However improbable these contingencies may seem today, facing them unprepared is a mistake a free people get to make only once. He goes on to say that the framers were wise to include it in the Constitution because they knew this. They were immediately this was in their immediate history. The possibility of being disarmed, and they said, we never want this to happen again. And we're going to make a country where the people always have the right to be armed and to oppose the government. Obviously peacefully, we start there, but with violence if necessary. Where do we go from here? Well, depending on where you live, your options are going to be limited, but there are always options if you are not a felon. If you are a felon, things get more complicated. And that's also depending on where you live. But for the most part, if you have a clean record, I'm not a legal expert, but anyway, you have the right to arm yourself. Every state law is a little different regarding the hardware and the path to go about getting that hardware. But I highly recommend, if you don't have a gun, get a gun. Really simple. Along with that, if you have a gun, you need the ability to store it safely, and you need the ability to train with it and understand your own capability as that continues to grow. I don't believe that the answer is firearms, violence, things like that. Truly, I don't think that's really where we're going from here. But if that is a contingency you are worried about, be prepared for it. However that goes about happening in your neck of the woods. However you feel that you need to do that. You also have to be psychologically prepared for the potential of using violence to protect yourself. It may not be a big rising up against a government kind of like revolution. I don't believe it's going to be. Genuinely, I think that's a very, very, very low likelihood. But what I do think is there are groups, sects of government employees who may be acting outside of their purview, who think they are empowered or entitled to do X, Y, or Z. And defending yourself is always a moral option, though not always a legal one. And on that, I'm going to leave you with one quote. This quote is from Marcus Tullius Cicero. There exists a law not written down anywhere but inborn in our hearts. A law which comes to us not by training or custom or reading, but by derivation and absorption and adoption from nature itself. A law which has come to us not from theory, but from practice. Not by instruction, but by natural intuition. I refer to the law which lays down that, if our lives are endangered by plots or violence or armed robbers or enemies, any and every method of protecting ourselves is morally right. Obviously, legally, there might be battles to fight if you defend yourself and the state feels that their actions were justified. That's what we have courts for. Be sober, be moral. Start there. Anyway, guys, stay safe. Keep yourself safe. I will see you later, and I gotta get back to my blinker job here. Have a good one.